I want the truth and nothing but the truth.
What's up everyone, it's your lawyer, Godot, and today we're going to be scaling one of the more underrated Joestars, Jolyne Cujoh. And while yes, I have done a video on Jolyne that was long ago, and it's time to give a sort of update to the scale. Now before I can continue, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe with notifications on, really helps the channel a lot. Also follow my Twitter, I'm very active on it, as well as join my public Discord server if y'all are interested. Twitter and Discord will be linked in the description. Alright, on to the video. Ability wise, what kinda separates Jolyne from other Joestars is that she's essentially also one with her stand, Stone Free, a stand that can unravel itself and Jolyne into strings, a pretty simple ability, with the only problem being that it's not really a super strong or fast stand like Star Platinum, and it doesn't have crazy hacks like Gold Experience, which essentially forces Jolyne to use her stand in hyper creative ways against a majority of her opponents that simply have better stats or hacks, bars. Impressive showings of these strings include them going great distances and being able to let Jolyne listen to people from far away, Stone Free's fists going through a fence, making a makeshift bulletproof vest, unraveling cloth objects and people, using her strings to walk or coast on water, making binary code, using her strings to detect movements, and more impressively, countering Seamoon's reverse gravity by using strings to undo her inverted body parts. Even crazier, making a Mobius strip to infinitely cycle out the gravity energy because the strip is infinite and has no inside or out. There's more she can do, but this is the general gist of her abilities. Once again, all this is due to her intelligence, which is pretty impressive considering she's the weakest, at least stand physical and hacks wise compared to other Joestars. And part 6 consists of her fighting equally if not more dangerous opponents than Jotaro, Josuke, and Giorno, with hacks and just raw stats being able to bail them out most of the time. Of course, not saying they're not intelligent and or that Jolyne's the smartest or something like that, right? Now onto the elephant in the room, Jolyne and Stone Free's physical stats, aka JoJo Part 6 scaling. So first let's go over Jolyne's attack potency and durability, then address people's contentions with it. Jolyne should have town level plus AP and durability consistently, as she was able to use Stone Free to punch small meteors out of the sky and also take hits from them, which is consistently calced at town level. Next, to make this more consistent, Jolyne should at least scale below Weather Report and AP, Weather Report being capable of recreating the fastest hurricane in history. That would be a large town level feat because a hurricane can output 1.3 times 10 carat 17 joules per day, which is about 310 kilotons. A hurricane by definition is a storm with a violent wind, no different than it being a strong air pressure, which is what Weather Report actually puts behind his physical attacks. As described, it can punch its opponents using a burst of strong air pressure. So Weather Report and AP should easily scale to the hurricane the stand can create and also the force behind its physical attacks, or at least bloodlusted attacks. All this is important because Pucci is a very durable man, capable of withstanding Stone Free's aura barrage and almost being defeated. Meanwhile, Weather Report, he was rocking Pucci, punching through him and almost killed Pucci had fate not intervened. Now onto the contentions people have with the scaling so far. I most commonly see people try to use a beginning of series Stone Free to try and downplay Stone Free at max being able to crush a coin between its fingers, which is crushing strength, not attack potency. The reason I'm applying here is no different than lifting strength not equaling attack potency. That leads to the next argument that Stone Free not being able to break prison bars, because the whole crushing coin statement. which is pretty dumb because Jolyne didn't try to and is clearly doubting herself, like how Polnareff believed he couldn't cut Hangman moving at the speed of light, but then Polnareff just did it, you know? Plus, later on, Jolyne breaks through prison bars just fine and is just pretty confident that she can escape the prison. Finally, the big contention, the meteors. I might have not explained it well before, so I'll explain things again in more detail. So here's what I'm going to clarify about the meteor feat in general. First, the reason why the meteor feat was calced so high and consistently is because of its speed. You see, in a kinetic energy calculation, we require two things: velocity, which is speed, and mass. For mass, we need the size of the object's volume x by the density. The volume, kk rhombus, pixel scaled. The density was finding out what type of meteor that was summoned to attack Jolyne, what it looked like. For speed, we need the distance in time frame. In the Stone Ocean calc kk rhombus did, he used perspective distance from Earth and then the anime time frame. Now, to answer the original question again, the reason why the kinetic energy was so high for the Stone Ocean feat is the speed. Like how a tiny bullet has the power to break bones. The meteor, while small, is moving so fast that kinetic energy was high as it is. And for the people wondering why shouldn't the feat be small to large building level instead, because if you look on the JoJo vs. Bao wiki, they only have it consistently calc there. I want you to genuinely sit down and ask yourself, was that guard really holding Jolyne in place for 3 minutes? Because that's what the JoJo vs. Bao wiki wrongly assumes. And if you said yes to that question, you might need some professional assistance at a hospital. Okay, the meteors are stated to move at optimal angle and speed to hit Jolyne. And in the manga, the guard grabs Jolyne. We go to the next panels in space. The meteors come down, and then they're in front of Jolyne with little time passing in this heated life or death fight. Even the anime has the meteors coming down in 5.874 seconds. Either way, whether anime or manga, in the context of Jolyne's fight with the guard, these meteors are coming down from space in small amounts of seconds, not whole minutes. So the lesson to y'all is to at least take those types of calcs on the JoJo vs. Bao wiki with a heavy grain of salt. Now, aside from that, people will say, well, if it's really town level, how come the meteors get blocked by some bricks in a boot or the prison brick walls? To explain this is rather simple. Even if we use the vs. Bao wiki ultimate lowball, the meteors by their standards would be small building level, obviously power way above normal bricks. So it's safe and rational to say that the reason why this happened is because of two reasons. One, it's fiction. Two, those bricks in JoJo, the ones Jolyne used from the prison, are simply built different. There will never be a completely rational explanation that some of you might crave, because that will only lead you to accidentally appealing to reality. Another thing people say that I've kind of already addressed here and in my Jolyne meteor video is, if the meteors are really town level, how come they didn't destroy a town, huh? Well, simple. The attack potency of the meteors doesn't equal its destructive capability, and I've already explained kinetic energy and the speed of the meteors. Next, Jolyne almost died to bullets. Well, first time she was literally off guarded. If she was on guard, she would have either tanked it or blocked them with Stone Free. Second time, Jolyne was at her limit with Stone Free, trying to make multiple Mobius strips to deal with Sea Moon, while Jolyne is heavily injured and exhausted. Anyways, the final contention to the Jolyne meteor feat is if she still kept that same type of power in her base, right? Because she was bloodlusted in the guard fight, therefore amped physically with her stand included, which is partially a true contention. She was bloodlusted, therefore amped, but two pieces of evidence point to the fact that what she did in the guard fight is now just a part of her normal power, non-amped or bloodlusted. First is that later in the series it's stated in Stonefree's general stand description that Stonefree can strike with the force of a small but fast moving meteor. Not saying it can only do this like when it's amped, but just normally. Second, in the JoJo Valor stand guidebook, Araki states that, quote, initially it only had enough power to grind up a coin, but after overcoming many battles, the stand has become much stronger by the end of the story by the simple virtue of Jolyne getting a better handle on it. Meaning that Stonefree essentially gets stronger throughout part 6. If her not being confident enough to break bars, then doing it later on wasn't enough. Now on to speed. Jolyne should either be faster than light or somewhere in the lower ends of massively faster than light plus. For faster than light, Jolyne should once again scale relative to Pucci at least, who's capable of outspeeding Anasui later on. This is important because Anasui and Diver Down were able to react to and punch Heavy Weather's snails mid-travel, being reflected off of a car windshield. For those who are lost, Heavy Weather's snails are actually light rays from the sun, and people perceive the sun rays as snails because of subliminal messaging. That feat was calced at 2.5 times faster than light, and only happened in the manga for you anime onlys. Hell, Jolyne was reacting to small meteors. The speed of those meteors were calculated at like 1.33% the speed of light, or sub-relativistic. It's not surprising we're entering the light speed to faster than light territories of JoJo, like part 6, scaling, right? Based off of that. Now, the other way to scale Jolyne's speed would be the one where she's somewhere around the lower ends of massively faster than light plus, would mainly be because of Whitesnake being able to steal Jotaro's disc. Now for context, Pucci put Jotaro in a situation where he'd barely have time to react. Keep the barely in mind, as Jotaro tries to react to Whitesnake, but fails. Obviously, if Jotaro had half the time or all of it, he'd be able to react. But in this case, it was less than half, and Whitesnake was the faster one here. Hence Whitesnake being somewhere in the lower ends of massively faster than light plus. I can't even put a number on it, but I do think that this is a valid argument for massively faster than light plus Whitesnake, Stonefree, etc. That's, tied with the faster than light argument I made earlier. And no, I'm not saying Whitesnake or Seamoon Pucci are relative or on par with Star Platinum in speed. In fact, I've stated the opposite this whole time, with, Pucci, Jolyne, and the others being in the lower ends of massively faster than light plus, while Jotaro and Star Platinum are just, there. Also, to make the whole Pucci being 1/4 of Star Platinum's and Jotaro's speed consistent, Pucci was barely able to react to a spear being thrown at him by Star Platinum, further giving more credence for Pucci being in the lower ends of massively faster than light plus. Contentions time. I've pretty much already addressed the bullet level arguments when I went over strength and durability, as a lot of what I said can be applied here. I think the only thing that's left to go over is the whole Mach 2.4 or bullet train thing with Maiden Heaven Pucci, and to put it simply, the statement in calculation or whatever is just dead wrong, as the feats these characters pull off are way above Mach 2.4 consistently. Even if you don't want to buy the speed of light to faster than light scaling and want to downplay, Jolyne and Hermes reacted to a point-blank airplane explosion and got themselves and other kids to fit in their seats. This was calced from Mach 10 to 25, a solid hypersonic plus feat, way above Mach 2.4. Finally, people spreading the misconception that Jotaro got weaker over the parts, especially in part 6, trying to rationalize bullet level or Mach 2.4, but contrary to those beliefs, Jotaro is still massively faster than light plus, and never got any slower or weaker. The only thing that goes down in Star Platinum's stats is time stop, the amount of time he can stop time for, which does go back up later, and also staying, which is the stat that goes down. People refer to the prime statement in Jotaro's stats in part 6 to prove that he definitively got slower or weaker in part 6, which is completely wrong, because if you read the fan translation, as soon as it solely talks about time stop, it mentions the time limit being 5 seconds during Jotaro's prime in part 3, which is true. The speed of Star Platinum isn't connected to the whole time stop prime statement in general. I even had that stand stats professionally translated from its original kanji, and it says this: it surpasses the speed of light by sheer fast speed. At its peak, 18 years old, for 5 seconds it managed to stop time of this world, which makes an even clearer distinction than the fan translation that its speed is completely separate from its prime and never went down. Jotaro never mentions that his stand got slower throughout the series. If anything, he consistently talks about time stop not being as useful as it used to be due to the shorter time limit, unlike his prime self, which the Part 6 Star Platinum stats refer to. And as for the whole stands getting slower with age argument, I've already gone over that in my Jotaro vs. All Might video. So yeah, generally, Jolyne reaction time and combat speed should be faster in light or massively faster in light plus, with her AP and durability being town level plus. Anyways, that's all I got for y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe with notifications on. Follow my Twitter and join my Discord server linked in the description down below. I'll see y'all later. Peace.
Yeah, good job.